Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. Hope you'll join me today. It's so good to be here with you. And I always like to thank you. We have the best viewers, and you write us these sweet notes and emails and support us and all. And thank you seems so inadequate, but that's kind of the limit to my vocabulary. So I hope you sense what's in my heart, and of course all the people here. Going to have a different show, a good show today. I'm going to be talking to Strang. Some of you might recognize that name. He's the founder of Charisma Magazine and an author. And we're going to talk about his new book, and I'll give you a little warning. It's all about politics. He wrote a book called God and Donald Trump. And it's a very, very interesting book. And it gives you a kind of a behind-the-scenes look at what goes on in the election process, and especially that night, you know, when both sides are waiting to see who won, and he was very much involved in that. So I think if you haven't met him before, you will enjoy him very much. And I'm going to join Stephanie, and we're going to make a hot artichoke dip. And I keep wondering who invented the dip. I would like to meet you and thank you. It can really fill in a lot of places, and people seem to love them. This is one that's really hot. Just pulled it out of the oven. Before I join Stephanie, though, I would again like to thank you for your support and remind you that we are viewer supported. You can support us by calling that number 1-800-229-0059 if you'd like to use your credit card and all that. Or you can write to us at Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. And remember that your gifts to this ministry are tax deductible, and that really looks good. Beginning about the middle of January until, I think it's April the 15th, that you know, you have to get, is that right, April 15th for your taxes?
Right around
something like
there,
that, yeah.
You could be
It's
right.
a day we like to not think about, forget, and all that. So thank you so much for your donations. We appreciate it more than words can say. I was going to tell you where I got this. My next door neighbor. I have the most wonderful neighbors.
You do. I've heard stories.
I know it. Just great story. I had one for Thanksgiving. I went out to get my newspaper, and I try to go like this because I really do look bad. And there was my neighbor. And he said, I was just putting your newspaper under the eave so it wouldn't get wet. Isn't that sweet?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, another neighbor, her son graduated from high school, and she had a little gathering, and this dip was there. I said, may I have the recipe? And she said, yes.
We need this recipe. This smells so really good. So really good.
So
That's
what do we do?
English. Well, can I share something with you real quick first?
Yes.
So we're coming into the holiday Christmas season, and I saw something on Pinterest that I wanted to make. Instead of a tree this year, I did a Christmas village ladder. So I finished it, and I wanted to share it.
I love it.
I love it too.
I
You know,
love it.
sometimes you try Pinterest things and they don't always turn out.
Yeah.
This one I
love
sit
that
at
thing,
night and
so.
I just adore it. So
Yep.
yeah, that's what I'm
So there
doing
we are.
this year.
And I'm sure it was time consuming, but not really hard.
Not really hard, just a little bit of time. Had to paint the ladder, had to paint the shelves, put it all together. So I loved
And
it.
some lights.
So I just
I
wanted to
like
share.
it.
Okay, so yummy, yummy, yummy.
Which one do we put in first?
Well, I have a cup of Parmesan.
Yeah.
And I put that first, just because you can make this. This is like a one-pan hit.
Yeah, see,
you don't
I
have
was
to make
going
a
to put
bowl.
it in
you
a
don't have to-
bowl, but
yeah,
she said,
nope.
no, we can do it all in
Yep.
one.
One can of artichoke
Hearts all chopped up.
Yep. And it just comes in a can.
Yep.
1 can of green chilies
That comes in a can.
comes in a can. We have a garlic clove that's chopped up. Yum. And then I have a cup of mayo. And okay, this is it.
A little noisy there.
Sorry. We're going to stir this all together. Get it really good and mixed up. And then we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes at 350.
You ever wonder who invented the dip?
Somebody really smart, somebody who had a lot of different stuff in their kitchen, and they're like, well, let's put this together and see what happens.
Because we fixed a few through the years, and then you just, I'm going to.
Yeah, I was worried about double dipping.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. So there you go. So you mix it up really good, bake it 20, 25 minutes at 350. I'm dying to try this one because I love artichokes.
There's some breadsticks there.
Is it super
Oh,
hot?
it's wonderful.
Oh,
Those
yum.
flavors.
Those green chilies, you get a kick from them, though. Are you all right?
No, they're not too hot.
Okay.
They're not too hot.
Oh,
The Parmesan,
the artichokes,
everything.
delicious.
It's wonderful. And you know what? You can have this in your fridge all the time.
Yep, all this stuff.
And if the kids come in, you don't have any teenagers anymore, do you? But if they come, you can put this together so fast.
Yep.
So, if you want this recipe, it's called Hot Artichoke Dip. Keep talking with food in my mouth, and my
So
mother
good.
told me not to do that. It's so good. That's all I
It
can
is
say.
so good.
So, information's coming up on your screen as to how you can get it, and we'll be glad to get it right out to you. We give it a 10 all the way, maybe an 11.
For sure.
Okay? All right, stay with us, and you'll meet Stephen Strang. I think you're going to like him.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
I'm very pleased to welcome Stephen Strang. We've known each other a long time.
Too long.
Yeah. And he is the founder of Charisma Magazine. A lot of you know about that. And Charisma Media, which apparently is an expansion from the magazine.
A lot more. We publish books in English and Spanish. And we also, of course, are on the internet. And recently we came out with a new translation of the Bible called the Modern English Version. So we're a full-fledged publishing house.
You certainly are. And I remember when Charisma Magazine came out, because it was so distinct, kind of with the Holy Spirit emphasis more than some other Christian magazines. And it was kind of needed to round out the publications that we were getting. So,
well, thank
and
you.
I read you online too. Charisma News, is that online?
Yes, it is, charismanews.com. And with all of our websites put together, we get between 5 and 7 million visitors every month.
Every month. That's
So it's
amazing.
getting to be popular.
I know. I've noticed a lot of times you're right on it. You know, it's
Well, we try to
not a
cover the
day-old
news
thing.
from a Christian perspective. We do subscribe to Reuters, so if there's an earthquake somewhere in the world, of course, we have all of that too. But we try to include things that people are not going to necessarily get anywhere else.
And I guess that we can say that about this book we're going to talk about.
That's right.
God and Donald Trump. And I want to tell you, this is a page turner. It's recommended by unbelievable people. Just
44 endorsements, which is probably overkill, but
well, but they are kind of household names. They are people that a lot of people have confidence in, and so it might give them a curiosity about the book. It was a shocking election. I still almost feel the reverberation from almost an earthquake.
Hillary Clinton still hasn't figured it out. has she?
It doesn't seem, I mean, she's on every few days giving reasons for it. For my own perspective, I, like millions and millions of people, Americans, Christians, everything else, thought it was a done deal that Hillary would win it. Was there any point in the buildup to the election where you were more on the inside? We'll talk about where you were that night and all. But building up to it, you thought, maybe Donald Trump has a chance.
Well, first of all, I wasn't for Donald Trump at all.
Right.
I was for Ted Cruz. And because I thought Ted was tough enough to change things in Washington. Of course, he didn't make it. And I began to be aware that Christian leaders were meeting with Donald Trump. And they would, somebody would always film, they would pray with him afterwards, and then somebody would take out their iPhone and film it, and it'd end up on YouTube. And so I was able to see people like Kenneth Copeland and Paula White Cain and different ones praying for him. And he seemed to appreciate it, and it shocked me.
He's very open to it.
He's very open, and I've been told that he really enjoys it. One person said he likes the anointing, but he doesn't know what to call it. So I thought, you know, maybe he's different than you hear on the media. And I started looking into it. And of course, when he got the nomination and Hillary Clinton got the nomination, there was no question. You know, it was anyone but Hillary.
Look at the good people he knocked out.
A lot of good,
really good people.
Mike Huckabee and
well,
on and
Jeb
on.
Bush was our governor.
That's
he was
right.
a good governor.
Yes, he was.
Good governor. Marco Rubio, I like him a lot. He's a Christian.
And I was actually for Marco Rubio early, but I didn't think that he could really win. But, you know, along this time, I also started hearing prophecies from prophets who I knew who said that Donald Trump was going to be elected, not maybe be elected, would be elected, which flew in the face of everything.
Okay, and these were prophets you kind of knew and trusted. They had a good track record, maybe?
Chuck Pierce is the best known, and he had told me and my wife over dinner in 2008 that Barack Obama would be elected twice. Now, that was not public. And because he had been accurate, because at the time he told us, it was even before the nomination, he had a lot of credibility, and so I looked into it.
You gave it a little weight, anyway.
That's right. And then there were others.
Put in the maybe.
My friend Frank Media, can they cut it out? My friend Frank Media was another. He was actually the first one who told me, you know, we used to talk all the time on the phone. He was very, very involved in the campaign. And they would have him kind of warm up the crowd beforehand when Trump would have these huge rallies up in Ohio, where he's from. And he would pray, and he would declare, and he would do all these things. And he said, absolutely, God is going to raise up Donald Trump. And not only that, but he gave a prophetic word to Donald Trump. And in my book, this is an exclusive, because as his friend, I knew back at the time that he had given him this prophetic word, but he swore me to secrecy because I guess, you know, he didn't want a controversy over it. After the election, he felt a little more comfortable. And what happened was he felt the Lord give him a word. And the word was a little bit longer than this, but it was basically, if you will humble yourself before me, you'll be the next president of the United States. And he thought, well, the Lord's got to open up a door. And the Lord did open up a door, and one of his top campaign people promised to hand it to the candidate, Trump, when he got on his airplane to fly down to Florida. And he believes that in the quietness of his airplane, he opened it up, he looked at it, and the best he could, he humbled himself before the Lord.
Now, those kind of prophecies, I'm a preacher's kid. I would have probably put them over here somewhere and then, oh, okay, we'll consider that later, because the overwhelming message from everywhere, every newspaper, you know, every television outlet. I'd like to clear something up right at the top, though, because he's not a choir boy. He wasn't an altar boy. He wasn't anything that Christians would probably... I talked to my son about this, and I said, you know, everybody's flawed. God picked the most outrageous people. The Apostle Paul facilitated, I don't know if he did it, but he facilitated the killing of Christians. Noah got drunk. David, man after God's own heart, commits adultery, arranges a murder. So the whole character thing doesn't really grab me when I think God even uses me.
I agree with you 100%. And I stumbled over this. And
yeah,
for me,
I think
heard
all of us did.
Lance Wallnau say that he believed that God was raising him up like Cyrus in Isaiah 45. And Cyrus, of course, was a pagan king who helped the Jews go back to Jerusalem. And I thought, if God can use a pagan king, because the scripture says, I have called you even though you do not know me. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, he can use someone like Donald Trump. But let's be real. What politicians are really godly? Was Kennedy? Was Johnson?
Swamp.
Was Bill Clinton? Of course not. The thing was that we as Christians feel better if you got a strong Christian like Mike Huckabee or Governor Bobby Jindal. And I was rooting for these guys. Even Marco Rubio is a strong believer, as you know. But God had a different way. So people have asked me, why did I write the book? And I say, Hillary Clinton wrote a book that said what happened. And mine answers the question. And the answer is that God intervened when people prayed, because our country was heading in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, and I want to get into that, but I want to tell our viewers, if you haven't noticed, we do have the website up. We're going to leave it up, picture of the book. You can get it through that, and I have read it, and it does give you insight, background. I wish I could have been with Stephen the night of the election. That must have been, you were in a ballroom, and the electricity must have just been
It was wonderful. I was invited by Pastor Darrell Scott. He's the African-American pastor who actually spoke at the Republican National Convention. He was very involved in the campaign. He invited me, and he didn't have to invite me twice. But I went because I really believed that these prophets were right. And also, you know, in the natural, I think I had a little bit of question about were all the polls right? You know, I think that some people who were for Trump didn't necessarily say it. And there was kind of a shift. Plus, Hillary Clinton was so corrupt that there were a lot of people who just couldn't vote for her.
Yes, I want to get to that too, but I said I'd get back to the prayer. I have never, and I've seen quite a few presidential elections in my life, I've never known of the prayer power that went into this election. I heard it everywhere. These ministries that were getting together thousands of people to pray, pray, pray. There's our answer.
That's right. And in the book, I talk about some of this. In fact, I have one chapter called Answered Prayer. And there are people like Cindy Jacobs, who is a prophet in her own right. And she didn't specifically prophesy that he'd win, but she had prophesied that God was going to use a trump card, which she kind of sees as after the fact. But she mobilized 10,000 women who went on prayer walks in cities and counties all over America. And they would march around and they would pray and they would claim, you know, righteousness, and
Amen.
They would come against the enemy and so forth. And the media was totally unaware of this kind of thing. But Cindy also told me something very interesting, which I included in the book, and that is she ministers all over the world, and she started getting emails and phone calls from some of her friends in some of these countries and said, "We're praying for America. We're praying for your election."
Yeah, this was a worldwide earthquake.
It really was.
It affected the world.
You know,
I
in
don't
a way,
think, there were very few people thought he'd win. Very few.
Western civilization would have been changed in some very fundamental ways. And, you know, partly because the left doesn't really even believe in some of the basics like American exceptionalism and so forth. But
Right.
Donald Trump has, and he shifted some things.
Not only the prayer, but I learned, I think, in a couple elections ago, kind of forget the candidate. Look at the platform. Can I stand on this platform? That's this guy. I might not like him. Might not like anything about him. His personality, he rubs me the wrong way. But the platform is more important than the person.
You're absolutely right. And in this case, the platform of the Republicans was better than it had been in many, many years, and the Democratic platform was worse. This is from
That's
a
right.
Christian
That's right.
perspective. And so you had to believe that whoever the Republican was who got elected was at least going to sort of do that, as opposed to the opposite. And I think that a lot of people who had trouble voting for Trump did so because of the platform. In fact, we ran an article on charismanews.com by Pastor Jim Garlow out in San Diego, and he basically wrote about why you should vote for Trump even if you don't like him. And his number one point was the platform. And he went down a lot of other points, and that was shared over 4 million times.
Well, and let's get to the planks of the platform. He's pro-life. He wants to defund Planned Parenthood. And if you want to get me mad, make me think about my tax dollars going to Planned Parenthood. That really raises my blood pressure. I don't know if he took a stand on marriage, but I remember Hillary Clinton saying a few years ago, I believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. And then she changed. She's all for same-sex marriage now. The other platforms of taxation, I get really angry at our tax system. I think it should be a consumption tax anyway, not an income tax. But that I'm continually paying things that are against my conscience. So he promised us that. I think the other side, the taxes would have been raised, not lowered. And so you can go down the line. This is this platform. Which platform can you stand on?
That's right. And the very most important point was the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
And if he did nothing more than appoint Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court, I think he did a great thing for our country. And I'll tell you something, and your viewers, one of the prophets that prophesied he'd win has publicly, in writing, prophesied that Donald Trump will appoint 5 members of the Supreme Court. Now, time will tell if he's right. Yeah. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But he is very specific about it, and I have to hope and pray that that does happen.
I read somewhere, and I believe this, that when Romney ran, I voted for him. I would have no problem voting for him. That a lot of evangelicals didn't, because he's a Mormon. So we go back to the platform. What are your choices? Do you want to call it the lesser of two evils? This is where you really need an informed voting population.
There are those who make the point that if Bible-believing, church-going Christians, who we call evangelicals, had gone to the polls, that Romney would have won. But you're right.
I had someone in this building tell me they wouldn't vote for him because he was a Mormon. I thought, you know, what a privilege it is to vote. Some of these guys that are kneeling, these football players making millions of dollars that kneel, never voted. Never voted. That's your best opportunity.
Well, we have separation of church and state, so Romney would not have made our country Mormon.
No.
And he was a good moral man and an effective leader. I voted for him too. But I think this time people realized just how serious it was. Because as bad as Barack Obama was, from a Christian perspective, Hillary Clinton was many times worse. So it was almost like we were right on the edge of the cliff and Hillary would have just driven us right off the cliff.
Yes, and I just could never vote for anybody that thinks it's okay to kill babies inside their mother's womb. Couldn't do it. I don't know where that can fit into a Christian testimony. Another thing about this election was the uniting of so many different denominations. I think I read in your book about Catholics, Lutherans, Charismatics, Baptists, Presbyterian. I mean, it's like it was kind of all-inclusive. They kind of came together. That's
right. 82% of the Christian votes voted for him. And, you know, I knew because I was involved in various ways that early on, very, very few of the Christian leaders backed Trump, like me. Most of them backed Ted Cruz. But something happened in June of 2016. There was a meeting with 1,000 pastors up in New York at Trump Tower. I did not go because I was scheduled to be with Jim Baker that day, and I didn't want to break the appointment. And also, I wanted my own interview, which I was able to get, a personal interview, which to me is much better than sitting in a room with 1,000 other pastors. But Dr. James Dobson and other leaders got up and asked him questions and then spoke, and it was like something shifted. And after that, the Christians were pretty much behind him, other than a few never-Trumpers, especially when the Access Hollywood tape came out, and of course this was deplorable and nobody approves of it, but it also happened, what was it, 11 years ago? And I believe that something happened in his life about 10 years ago. He got much more serious, he kind of cleaned up his act, he started thinking about how he was going to spend the rest of his life, and he also started watching Christian TV because he would watch David Jeremiah, he would watch Paula White Cain. When he would meet with some of these pastors, he would speak to them as if he was familiar with their ministries, even though they'd never met. And we got a cliffhanger here, and you're going to have to tune into the next program. So stay with us. I have a couple things to say before we have to say goodbye. But Stephen will be on the next program.
Arthelene would like you to keep the following information handy. You may contact Homekeepers by writing to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758, or go to www.rippy.org. Remember, we always enjoy hearing from our viewers, and we thank you for your support.
Let me remind you again that we are viewer-supported, and that means you wonderful people who are viewing us. you support us. And I've always really believed that we've been on the air a long time, and so many of you have intended to send a gift. This is a good day to just fulfill that intention. I think all of us are full of really good intentions, and we could really use your help right now and would appreciate it so much. If you write to us at Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. And if you'd like to use your credit card or debit card, that number's on your screen, 1-800-229-0059. And we will appreciate it so much. I don't know how much you enjoy politics, but I do. I really do enjoy the way the whole American system was laid out by our forefathers decades and decades ago. But the Bible has a lot to say about it too, Old Testament and New Testament. The Old Testament tells us that it's God who sets up the leaders. You know, we can do all we can do, and we can vote, and we can campaign and all, but this isn't the final analysis. And sometimes God gives a nation a leader they deserve, and sometimes He gives them one that they really need. It depends on the times and what's going on, and it's up to God. But He also tells us what our part should be. And we are supposed to pray for our leaders. And I got into that habit a long time ago just because the Bible said to. So I prayed for a few I didn't like that much and I didn't vote for, but God told me to pray for them and to respect them. And I do that. And so let me throw this out to you. You might not have voted for our president at all, and you might not like him at all, but God's asking you to pray for him and to hold him up. And I would urge you to put him on your prayer list. I pray for him every single morning. I pray for my family, and I got a kind of a list I go through each morning before I come to the office. And President Trump is on it, and Vice President Pence. And we need to pray most of all for their protection, and that the wisdom of God would be known by them and they would carry it out. And that's what we can do. Doesn't cost us anything at all to pray for our leadership and to know what's going on. That's so important, to really be apprised of everything that's going on in the country, because we have a ballot and it's precious. Join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.